Hi, today I'm just going to speak about, continue talking uh, about how my brother, British Transport Police officer, and the solicitor or solicitors, Gedye and Sons, that he consulted behind my back with his English sister-in-law, how they got a grant of probate without my name on it. How they got a grant of probate without my name on it and used that to administer the estate without involving me, and how they used that to tell me I wasn't an executor simply because even though I'm named, written into the will, my mum's will, as an executor, yet they told me I wasn't an executor simply because they, behind my back, got a grant of probate without my name on it, with only my brother's name on it. So this is the grant of probate that they got from Manchester Probate Registry, and that's another thing. They don't have offices in Manchester. Their main office is in Grange-over-Sands, Cumbria. Their secondary office or satellite office is in the City of London. It was in the City of London that the solicitor Richard Roberts invited me to meet him, where he abused me in order to be able to get this grant of probate without my name on it, using the fraud that probate solicitors use called power reserved. And I've realized that he chose to have this grant of probate issued from Manchester Probate Registry because that's far for me to go to tell them what he's done, because it's not the closest probate registry to Cumbria or Grange-over-Sands. It's not the closest probate registry to Grange-over-Sands. So why use that probate registry? Also, there's a probate registry in High Holborn, not far from where their office is. They could have used that probate registry as well. I'm quite sure this Richard Roberts deliberately used this Manchester one because it was far for me to go to tell them what's been done. And I did travel to Manchester 3 times to visit the probate registry. He didn't think I would be willing to do that, but I was. But I travelled there 3 times. He's deliberately done that to make it difficult for me. I've later realised that. So this is the grant of probate that my brother and Richard Roberts of Gedye and Sons, Mark Reynolds of Gedye and Sons, conspired to get without my name on it. This is it. That's it right there. That's it right there. And if I go lift it up, you can see that if you look at the writing on the bottom, it's Gedye and Sons that obtained it. So that's it. You can see there, that's my brother's name. That's my brother's name. Only his name is on this grant of probate as an executor. There are two other executors, myself and my uncle. And then here it says in very small letters, small print, power reserved to other executors. We never agreed to that. That's not what we agreed to, and it's a manipulation. This is fraud. This is fraudulent. This is the fraudulent, a fraudulent document, a fraudulent grant of probate, and it's also facilitated by the court. It's facilitated by the Manchester High Court. And any High Court with a probate registry, any probate registry in England, they enable the solicitors to do this because they enable them to use this power reserved as a fraud. They enable them to misuse this power reserved. They enable them to misuse it. Power reserved to other executors. What say did we get in whether power was reserved to us? This was issued. I wasn't even shown this by my brother or by this Richard Roberts or Mark Reynolds. I only got hold of this when I complained to the legal ombudsman, and when I complained to the legal ombudsman, and the complaint was being dealt with, and as a result of the complaint being dealt with, the investigator asked Gedye and Sons for information, and they had to provide the information. Before that, this Richard Roberts was refusing to provide me the information. He was telling me I'm not an executor, and as someone that's not an executor, I don't have the right to information. He never told me that when he was encouraging me to use this power reserve to step down. He never told me. He said the opposite. He said you'll still be able to get information. This Richard Roberts is a real devil. So he refused to give me information because he realized I was going to go to the legal ombudsman, and when it looked like they weren't even going to investigate my complaint because they were saying it was out of time. He got someone called Nick Davis, the risk manager, to write me that they're not going to answer any more requests from me because it's not going to be investigated. It's not going to be investigated. So he was going to refuse to give me any information, even this grant of probate that shows that he's excluded me. He was going to refuse to give me any information. But the investigator realized that my complaint was not out of time. So the investigator went through with my investigation, and as a result, she requested a bundle of information from the from Gedye and Sons, and they had to provide this. I only got this because he had to provide it, because he was asked to by the Legal Ombudsman Organisation. This that shows that he's excluded me. I only got this because the Legal Ombudsman asked the Legal Ombudsman investigator asked the firm to provide her with a bundle of information which included this, and then I was able to ask her for the information. This man is a crook. He's tried to tell me that I wasn't an executor, and he's tried to tell me that as someone that's not an executor, I'm not entitled to information, that I'm not entitled to information that proves what they did to me. So this is it here. You can see that my brother's name is there as the executor that the grant was granted to, but only his name, not my name, not my uncle's name. And then it says power reserved to other executors. They use this to override a legal will. They use this to override a legal will, and it's illegal that they're using this to override a legal will. It's illegal. It's fraudulent. This can't override a legally written will. But they do it. They use it to do that fraudulently, and the courts, the probate registries, like this Manchester High Court, cooperate with them, facilitate them with this. They facilitate them with this. They actually facilitate it. The courts are facilitating this. They're facilitating it. They're facilitating it. So they facilitate it, and they enable them to do this. The courts enable them to do this because the courts and the solicitors are in it together to take advantage of people using the whole wills for inheritance tax. The courts and the solicitors, the probate solicitors, are basically wanting to get as much inheritance tax from people as possible to loot the deceased estate as much as possible, and they cooperate to push the executors and to push the beneficiaries out of the way as much as possible. The courts are in this with the solicitors. The courts are in this with the solicitors. With this fraud. It's a fraud. It's a complete fraud. Also, another reason why this is a fraud is because I found out that probate law states that an executor's authority is derived only from the will and not from the grant of probate. So they're completely fraudulent, that an executor's authority is derived from the will only and not from the grant of probate. The grant of probate only confirms an already pre-existing authority. It only confirms an already pre-existing authority. And they were telling me I wasn't an executor because they had got this grant behind my back that doesn't have my name on it. This is the fraud of the solicitors, Gedye and Sons, Richard Roberts, Mark Reynolds, and my brother, with Manchester Probate Registry facilitating it, condoning it. Because when I went to Manchester High Court, Manchester Probate Registry, and spoke to them face to face, they didn't help me at all. And when I applied for my own grant, I wrote extensively about how awfully I'd been treated by Gedye and Sons and Richard Roberts and Mark Reynolds and Mark Jones and Nick Davis. I put it in detail. And the person that read the letter told me he passed it on to the deputy registrar, and the deputy registrar just ignored it. The deputy registrar never responded to me. They're all in it together as fraud. So this is it.